Welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to cover stored procedures. And basically what a stored procedure is a list of select statements grouped together, and they perform a particular operation. One of the good benefits of a stored procedure is its timing and efficiency. It makes things a little bit faster. Also, you don't have to retype that code every time you want to use that stored procedure. So this is an example of a stored procedure or a select statement that we're going to turn into a stored procedure. And simply we can execute this statement, and we have our results. And let's just go over the statement. Currently we're just selecting the sales order ID name. We're going to average the unit price and the unit price discount as a price. We're also going to sum the totals as total. We're going to concatenate the year, and we're going to use the order by date, and we're going to use just a part of the actual order by date, and that's going to be the year. And that's why we have our function here that's going for date part, which is only going to pull the actual year out of the actual entire order by order date. And we're going to label that as year, and we're going to concatenate the word year along with the actual year that comes along with it. And the from clause indicates our tables that we're going to use, and we're going to interjoin sales order detail table and the product table, and we're going to interjoin them on the product ID from each table. And we're also going to interjoin the sales order header table, and we're going to interjoin that based on the sales order ID, and that's coming from the sales order header and the sales order detail sales order ID. As long as those two match up, then we're going to pull that same information. And then we're going to group by the sales order ID, the name, and our concatenated year. And since our other two columns are actually using aggregate functions, we don't have to include those in the group by clause. Only the columns that are not considered or used as aggregate functions must be in the group by clause. Okay, and you already seen the results here. Alright, let's go ahead and make this into a stored procedure. Okay, to turn this into an actual stored procedure, all we have to do is come up above the select statement, and we're going to type in create stored procedure. Or actually create procedure. Oh, what am I doing? Now we can also take out the following words and go down to proc. We can just also write create proc instead of create procedure, and that'll also create the stored procedure as well. What we want to do at this point is pick a name for our stored procedure. I normally like to start with SP. Let's go SP. We'll say order details. And then we'll simply add the word as, and that'll correct everything there under our select statement. And at this point we can go ahead and create our procedure, but before we do that, let's also talk about two other keywords that we can add here. And we're going to add the word begin, and it's not necessary here. This is one simple select statement, so we don't necessarily need the word begin. But in the future, as we get into more complex SQL statements, we're going to need the word begin, and we're also going to add the keyword end down here at the bottom. And this just lets us know where our statements begin and end, because as we get more complicated between those two statements, the begin and end is definitely going to be necessary. Okay, we got our begin and end, and that's basically all we need. We can also, before in earlier tutorials, we did use the keyword use just to specify what database this is coming from, or we're going to be utilizing to create the actual stored procedure. and we can go up and see we're using the AdventureWorks database here, and we can actually just drag that over there, and it's going to use that database. Now the problem here is we see the red underlining here, which indicates an error or incorrect statement. In order to fix that, normally with a stored procedure, it has to be listed first in a batch. So in order to fix that, we just hit return, and we simply type in go, and that'll fix that error there or incorrect statement there. And we can simply execute this. Everything looks good. Everything looks in place here, and we'll simply execute, and command completed successfully. Now, in order to go over and look at our stored procedure, let's make sure it's there. And we come down to the actual database that we're using, come down to programmability, and let's close these out. And this is a list of our stored procedures. And what was the name of our procedure? SP order date. As you can see, it's not listed there. So let's go back up here to where the database is, and let's hit refresh. And let's go back down to programmability, stored procedures, and there's our procedure that we just created, SP order details. Okay, so we have that. So this is a stored procedure that we can use and run without actually having to retype this actual code every time we want to know this information. So what we can do now is actually we can execute the actual procedure. Let's create a new query window. Okay, we got a new query window. Now, in order to execute our procedure, let's type in the word execute and the name of our stored procedure. As you can see, the list comes up here, and ours is SP order. The details. Okay. There we go, and we have our stored procedure. Looks like my computer stopped there for a minute. And that's how you execute your stored procedure.